Live. We are live. Hello. Okay, he paused for a second. It said poor connection. Well, happy Saturday. While we wait for people to join, it was my birthday on Wednesday, so I'm still in the mood because I'm one of those people who like to celebrate the whole week because one day is not enough to be thankful and be happy for another year. And speaking of which, so I know a lot of people, they were like, oh, it's my birthday, I'm +1 today. I don't know what +1 means. So I've always been very curious about, what is +1? I always just tell my age. So just in case you can't tell, I'm actually 42. So I turned 42 on Wednesday. I feel 24, probably look 22, but that's okay. Hey, Michael, I was just ranting about +1. Because then I had that conversation. I was like, I don't know why people say, oh, I'm +1 today. Like, what is +1? So, yeah. So I'm 42 and proud, feel 24 and look 22. That's my goal. So I think I'm winning. Hey, Chi-Chi. Chi-Chi, they're trying to cramp our style in Ontario. Like, I don't know what's up with these people. First it's stay at homes. Now it's like get arrested if you leave your house, and it's just sad.
I know. I mean, we're becoming a police state, right?
Yeah. Well, I think they're going to have to. Mental health illness is real, and the more you keep people away, I don't know. Like I don't want to talk about it because I'm very upset with this new stay-at-home lockdown. So anyway, since I'm in a good mood, it's still my birthday week, so I'm still celebrating. So feel free to wish me a happy birthday. I'm not too old to accept gifts. I still do accept gifts, gift cards, cash. Let me repeat that, cash. Yeah. So let's get started. Welcome everyone to another episode of I Rise Conversations with Joan. I'm Joan, and as usual, these are just open conversations we have with regular folks like you and I, to kind of deal with things like this pandemic and all this change that's going on, and just share stories of wins and successes or challenges that we've gone through, and who knows, we might be able to help one another. So most of the topics are based on my book. If you still haven't bought my book, I see you. I know, I'm watching you. Buy my book. It's available on Amazon and in bookstores in Nigeria. So let's get started. So today with me, I have one of my real friends. And I say real friends because next week we're actually going to be talking about friends, different types of friends. So Michael's one of my real friends, like true friends. And I'm super excited to have you here on the show. We're going to be talking about, different perspectives to living life on your own terms. So before we get started, Michael, why don't you just give us a quick introduction about who you are?
Yeah, call me your everyday guy. Yeah, I'm your everyday guy. I'm a family man. I work. I'm in lockdown like everyone else in Ontario right now. No, I know we won't go there, but yeah. But overall, I'm just that person that is everyday. For a living, I work in the project management world, IT finance. So that's what
big money is. Big money.
That's where the money is. Yeah, Joan and I are crazy like that. So please bear with us if we go on tangent like this. But yeah, that's what I do for a living: project programs, portfolio management. That's what I do for a living.
Okay.
On the side, I definitely I'm into photography. Long story, we'll get to how I got into photography, but yeah, just take me as your everyday simple guy, that guy next door,
Okay, yeah. Oh, so that's pretty awesome because you say everyday guy, and all I hear in my mind is, you're authentically yourself. And I wish everybody could say that. People are just what society wants them to become, or what society has kind of written out, this is what you should be when you grow up. But we just kind of just accepted it and become that. So I love the fact that you say you're everyday guy, and it just really sounds like you found your space, you're within your space, you know who you are, and you just live in life on your own terms, which is pretty awesome. But we're going to get to that. So, you've been on a journey, you've done so many things, you've lived in multiple countries. So what was, if you had to pinpoint a pivotal point in your life where things kind of shifted left or right, that led you to where you are in this very relaxed, everyday guy kind of way, what would that be? What would be your story?
The thing is, so with that pivotal moment, I've had multiple, I mean, so let's start from even when you were a child, right? But I mean, I think what basically did it for me was in Nigeria, before I left Nigeria, I was working in the banking industry and I was looking at everything that was going on. And I'm like, smokes, this thing is going up in flames. It's not going the way, we started off. I mean, I was idealistic. And I think I also surrounded myself a little bit with idealistic people, so people that were true. And that's one thing that I try to do all the time. Surround myself with people that are true, genuine, that will always tell you the truth. And we got together and one of them was like, man, it looks like things are going to implode. Luckily for me at that time, I had the opportunity to come and study in the abroad, so, so that was, I was basically looking at the industry in Nigeria at that point in time, which was the most glamorous outside of oil industry. Telecoms was just coming up then, but banking was it. And I was looking at like, this is not going anywhere. I have an opportunity. I have to take this. And so that basically led me to where I now reside, which is in Canada. And basically just, from there, things just started, moving fast and furious. But I have to confess that when I came to Canada, I had every intention of going back to Nigeria.
Wow.
Honestly, literally every day before I get to work, or when I get to work, grab my tea. I don't drink coffee. Grab my tea. Always, always on NGR, Guardian News. This day, I was always reading, and things just were not going the way I thought it would. Where was I going back to? And I think it was in 2008 or thereabout. I was like, okay, I'm here to stay, and that's it. Within 4 months, I think I told you this narrative, right? Within 4 months, I got my first place, and it's history, like they say.
Wow. So, so that's pretty awesome. So, so it sounds like you living in Nigeria was really a turning point for your life. And you said, you had people that you were talking to, people who were true, people who were real. A lot of people don't have that. Hey, BJ, a lot of people really they haven't surrounded themselves with the right people. And it's difficult, because most of us are just a result of our circumstances, so you're here. So obviously the people around you or whoever you see. So how can people, because for you, it really sounds like, okay, I was going to move to Canada. You had the right people that were supporting you. You moved to Canada. You came here. You were thinking about going back to Nigeria, but then you finally probably spoke to people again and you decided that Canada is home. I'm just going to make it work.
Yeah.
So let's go back to people who are feeling rather stuck right now. And, they're stuck in a world or in a life that they really don't want. And that's all they can see. That's the perspective that they can see. How can they shift left or shift right so that they can open up their mind to other opportunities?
That's a tough one because, I mean, we all tend to suffer from tunnel vision, right? We only see things in a certain way. But the good news is, I mean, again, I call it luck, call it blessing, call it whatever the case may be. I've always had people who genuinely love to tell me the truth, whether I like to hear it or not. Remember that time that we went to the library and you downloaded on me, you're like, oh, Lord have mercy, why did I ask this girl? But yeah, I always, for whatever reason, attract people that genuinely just want to tell me the truth. And when you find such people, you need to take advantage of it. The average person, and once upon a time I was like that as well. We tend to be defensive. Someone is telling you, you're not looking at this properly. But you're like, no, I have my facts right, blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, when you have people that are genuine, because you have to separate them. If a Joe Black just walks off the streets and tells me I'm the best thing since sliced bread, I'm like, okay. But if it was you that came to tell me that I'm the best thing since sliced bread, I'll take a double back. I'm like, tell me more. Because then I cannot explore where you're coming from. So I think and two things. Well, the other thing is, for me, call me a scientist of sort. I'm curious. So when someone says something, I always want to understand why. Why are you saying it? So they help me understand why you're saying it. So if you feel stuck, my recipe for when I'm stuck is I reach out to people that I know are genuine. I know that if I speak to them, they will tell me the truth. If I know also that by telling them what I'm telling them, it's not going to become an Instagram live conversation. It's not going to become a something that's broadcasted. There's always that confidence, that confidence that I have that they understand that this is being spoken to them in some form of privacy, and they hold that there. So you just have to find that person that can genuinely help you shift it if you can't do it yourself.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So find the right people, surround yourself with the right people. But I think another critical thing is also being open. You already mentioned that, a lot of us, we're raised, especially where we come from, we just judge. Like, we are the knowers. We know it all. A lot of us are really closed-minded. And we'll say, oh, no, I'm open to learning. I'm open to other people's point of view. But the moment someone says, oh, maybe you shut it down. It's like, no, you don't know this. No, I know somebody who said, we're always either on the defensive or very judgmental when it comes to, decisions or issues on life. How, and then we'll still turn around and say, hey, I'm an open person, I'm growing, but then it's like you hide behind, oh, I'm just living life on my own terms, this is me, this is who I am, but there's no openness. We spend all our energy judging and putting people down and explaining or being defensive on why this is the right way. How do you not be judgmental? How do you stay open? How do you, some of the things you're talking about, even if you have the right people around you, how do you stay open when we're wired to be judgmental and closed?
Yeah, well, okay, so I have to confess, I'm also a Christian, right, by the way. So a big anchor for me is my belief. Okay, so that I have to put out there. It's not something that I trivial with, that I mess around with. The aspect of being judgmental is inherent in all of us. Mm-hmm. Scientists say that back in the Neanderthal age, whatever period you want to call it, the way we survived was by using cues to help us guide. Even children, scientists have proven that when they look at you, they're looking at mostly here. And if you have a frown in your face, immediately they can sense some kind of disapproval. So in a way, you're technically biased out of the gate. So you're always looking for something to either confirm or deny a bias. Call it some recency bias, call it some, whatever it is. So I think the critical thing is always be willing to take a step back. There's this philosopher, I forget his name now, and he said the way to always look at yourself is to look at yourself as if you're a robber in a house and the police are after you and you're always one step above. And the way to do that is basically to always check your emotions. Why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel like I need to judge? Why do I feel like I need to be defensive? Again, like I said, it depends on who's speaking to me. So if it's someone that I've had numerous encounters with, that has come across to me as genuine, that's always willing to always tell me the truth, no matter what. Mm-hmm. Those kind of people, I will, before I can basically close them off, it's going to be very hard. Now, they're at the next level, secondary level, because it's always very critical for you to understand the perception of people of you, because like it or not, perception is real, but we can always talk about that, and maybe some.
Oh, coming back to that, perception is real.
Okay, great, yeah. So, but the whole notion of judgment, it's just inherent. The only way to just counter that is to understand that it's going to happen, and to prep yourself to say, if it happens, what are you going to do about it? For me, what I tend to do is I take a step back and I ask myself, why am I feeling this way? Why do I feel like I need to defend myself? And if I'm able to resolve that in my mind, I either take what they're saying to be true or I discard it. That's just the way it is.
Okay. Oh, easier said than done. Because most times you've already gone like 100 miles per hour. And
yeah.
maybe I overreacted. So it's very difficult, but that's the more mature way to handle, feedback. Let's call it feedback for now.
Sorry, just one more thing. And I think the other thing is sometimes, and this happens to me all the time. Like I said, I'm a man. I'm, prone to human tendencies. The critical thing is sometimes when you do go that 100 miles an hour and you realize you've gone that far, I think you have to be able to come back to say, okay, you were right, I was wrong. That I think is also very critical. But okay, sorry to interrupt. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Okay. So just to backtrack a little bit, because, so we've talked about, making sure that you have the right people around you, making sure that you're authentic and you're true to yourself. People around you have to be people that you respect. You've probably built some trust over the years so that you're open and you can listen to them. And then stay open. You be willing to get other people's point of view. And then you went to perception is reality. And my question is perception really reality? And does it really matter? Does how other people perceive you matter? In the grander scheme of things, does it really?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say yes and no. So in that one, I'll say it depends. Okay, so we've talked about the fact that you're surrounding yourself by people that are genuine in the first instance, right? Mm-hmm. But the reason why perception matters is because that is that person's reality. Okay? Now, if you've read the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is seek to understand first before being understood. Okay, so if you take that approach to doing, you understand that person's perception of you. So when you understand where they're coming from, then it's easy to address it. So now it's not to say you should be totally invested in just trying to understand what everybody thinks about you, because then you'll never be able to achieve anything for yourself.
Yeah.
But to the extent that you are taking the time, especially in a social setting where you're trying to achieve something. Now, as a project manager, program manager, for anybody that's aspiring to be a project manager, please don't do it. It is the most thankless job in the world, but for me, I get my satisfaction.
Come on! Do it. That's where the money is. Project management, IT.
No, but for me, the satisfaction I get from doing the role is that half of the people that I'm dealing with, I have no authority over them, but I'm able to do something with them. I'm able to help them understand how to move from point A to B. I mean, trust me, the people that I work with are phenomenal. They are experts. They are people. They are call them anything in their own right. But to get from point A to B, they can't. And that's where I come in. And some people mean that to mean a what do you want to call it, like a servant. You don't have a say.
Yeah.
I remember someone telling me I wasn't paid to think, I was paid to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, if I'm not paid to think, then I don't need to be here, because that is one of the things that I do effectively. So back to the question, perception. So in trying to achieve something, you always have to understand people's perception of you, because that is either going to allow you to achieve your goals or not. So does it matter? It depends. If you're trying to achieve something of significant value and you need that person's help, then you need to understand what it's going to take to get that person to get the job done, without necessarily taking a hammer and clubbing over their head or something. If it's just some random guy on social media, like you have this that has no face, bad attitude, whatever the case may be, I mean, it's of no relevance. Don't pay attention to such.
Okay. So, Kalani, we're just talking about living life on your own terms and different perspectives. So, so the conversation now is more around what other people's perspective or their perception of you is. Does it really matter? Or do you just go ahead and just live life on your own terms and do whatever you wanted? Assuming that you're living an authentic life. So we've already talked about how to get to that point where you're willing to be authentic, but also surround yourself with people who are authentic and with you. Okay, so we are saying, perception, it depends, on who it is or what it is that you're trying to achieve. And that's a fair statement. Okay, so now I want to talk about, so you're into photography and, putting on my judging hat, because I like to judge, because it's fun, it's fun. So, and when I look at pictures, I look at the picture and I'm like, oh, this is a beautiful picture, but I'm looking deeper. Like I'm trying to read the people. I'm looking for, okay, this person is smiling, but that smile, look at the eyes. The eyes are not really matching the smile on the face. So in your role as a photographer, which is a side hustle, do you find that, you're able to see more, you have a deeper perception of people than, we that are just looking and just seeing a smiley face and, oh, she looks happy. Do you get to see people a little bit more, a little bit deeper?
Yeah, I do, and the reason why I say that is you can't help but, I mean, as a photographer, you can't help but see people's insecurities. So for a guy, it could be his massive pot belly.
Which is kind of good living.
Well, evidence of good living, like they say, where we come from. Yes, yes, yes. For the woman, it could be some kind of, body shame that someone has already told them a while ago, and you can't but not help but have that initial conversation of sort. He doesn't always say, oh, when I was young, someone said this about my body or something. No, it's not always like that. But you can always say, is this profile better? Am I on this side better? Is this a finer side of me? And people have always told me this is the better side. So you see people's insecurities. It always comes out. And so as a photographer, that's my role there, is to help them see past that. Because truly, what we have on the surface does not always reflect what's inside of us. But the truth of the matter is the people that can genuinely express what is inside of them, it shows. I always tell my wife that when I was younger and we started watching, this was when cable TV first came to Nigeria. Well, specifically to Ibadan, because Ibadan is like back end. But when it first came to Ibadan and everybody was getting cable and we were like watching CNN, I always remember this ad on CNN that time, and it was about a Best Western. Sorry, it was a Hamptons hotels, one of those high hotels, and it was like, when you take pride in something, it shows. And so when you think about it as a photographer, what I'm trying to do is, half of the time, I'm trying to help people understand what they take pride in, because automatically it just comes out. You don't have to fake it at that point. You don't have to put on a fake smile. So yeah, part of my role is make them comfortable with me, help them understand how beautiful they are inside out. And then I just take the picture, because I'm not really doing much. All I'm just doing is capturing a moment of their beauty.
That's really also silently judging them, aren't you?
No, yes, no, God. No, but truth be told, the aspect of judgment as a photographer is to the extent that you are trying to see something else. So sometimes, consciously, unconsciously, we tend to project, and as like I said, it will show in the camera. There is no amount of makeup that you want to have on. There is no amount of clothes you want to put on. It will show. So you want to understand what that is. So that is where the judgment conversation comes in. Not so much from the, oh, well, look at you. You too much. That's why you are, whatever, fill in the blank. So yeah. So that's what I do. That's the way I approach the conversation. That's the way I go about, trying to get this done.
Yeah, and I really always suspect I only take pictures of myself. That's all I know. But even sometimes when I take pictures of myself, I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's something not right, there's something off. And most times it's usually my mood, how I'm feeling. So I'm smiling on the outside, but deep down I know that it's not all good. But that's how a lot of people, and why I bring this up is because a lot of people are walking around, they look good, they're dressed, they have the makeup on, they're talking the good talk, but deep down inside, people are not really authentic. People are not really living the life that they really want to live. They're still so concerned about, oh, what's this person going to say? What do people think about me? How do people want me to act? And just conform to that way of living. It's really, really tough. And I'm looking at you, you're just relaxed, and I know you, so I know that you do what you want to do. But a lot of people really struggle. A lot of people don't even know who they are, let alone know what they like or what they want to do. Do you have any suggestions for people? Really, how can we look good on the outside and still look good on the inside, or the other way around? Good
So
on
I'm
the
not
inside
going to,
and let it reflect on the outside.
yeah, I'm not going to be prescriptive in this conversation because I mean, to each his own, right? I think sometimes when you think about a person that has a certain type of um, approach to doing things, one way on the inside, another way on the outside, it's because they've built a persona, okay? And that persona is not holding up anymore. Hence, there's a conflict. Now, personas are good because, I mean, I'm not going to be chummy chummy with you the way I am with my wife. You know, I'm not going to
I
be, hey, madam, slow down.
I'm just saying.
you know, you know, I'm not going to be as friendly with someone that I just met versus someone that I've known all of my life. You know, so with each person, there's a level of persona that we have to sort of like construct, for lack of a better word, to be able to deal with the situation. And even within the workplace, you cannot do certain things. So at work, you definitely need to have a certain level of persona. Now, that said, all of this have to align. You know, you need to have a set of core values, you know, that you hold on to. You know, those core values are unshakable. Um, if your core value is you want to make money, if the money doesn't come, what's going to happen? Or it comes and then it goes, but what's going to happen? Then it's shakeable. You know, so you want to hold on to things that are definite. And, you know, that's where my belief system comes in. You know, my belief system is one, like I said. I also told you earlier on, another thing that I hold on to are the people that I surround myself with. You know, those are the things that need to be consistent in all of the persona that you are developing. You know, because the objective of the persona is not to project someone that is fake, but to be able to act appropriately in that given environment. You know, so now if your persona is such that, okay, you have a social media persona, and for that reason, you always have to look glam and what is it called, so that you can promote the next best. Thank you. You know, that kind of thing. I mean, so be it. You know, but and you look great, by the way, Joe. I really love what you look like right now. Not that you don't look great other times, but today is just exceptional.
Okay.
You know, so just getting that persona, understanding that within each persona that you're dealing with or that you develop for each of the different scenarios, it has to have a common, but they all have to have common foundations, of a common foundation, not foundations. You need just one. Yeah. So yeah, so that's where I would recommend going about it.
Yeah, that's really you know, and that's like I've never thought about it that way before. You know, I have always just pictured I want to be me and I want to be me all the time. Like I really don't have time to be putting on different personas, let's call it that. But the way you explain it, it kind of makes sense because I look at how I am, you know, in my 9 to 5 job. I'm a different person.
You
You
can be,
know, like
yeah,
I'm not crazy there. I'm like, you know, nice, calm. They're like, you're so hard.
yeah.
Yeah. Then when I'm with my friends, that I is crazy, you know.
Uh-huh.
And but the foundation or the fundamental core values are the same. So in identifying yourself or trying to figure out who you are and what you represent, it's about finding those core values. And I really like the way you said it. Find your core values. And so regardless of what the persona is, you're still the same. Fundamentally, you're still the same. Yeah, in some instances, you're louder or you're prettier or you're whatever, you're more laid back, but your core values remain the same across board. I think that's pretty phenomenal. Wow. Okay, so if you're just joining, yeah, we're just talking about how to really live life on your own terms, you know, and the different perspectives or perceptions of other people, and really what role that plays. And you know, should you just adopt the mindset of this is who I am, tough, you don't like it, go away, whatever, or are there lessons that you can learn from other people's perspectives and perspectives, because we have tunnel vision and most times we no two people experience life the same way, you know, so you have to be able to be open. And how do you become open? Surround yourself with the right people, not just people. We're not looking for human bodies, we're looking for people that can really impact and influence your life the right way. Okay. Thank you very much. So the next thing I want to talk about, because it's something that's very key to me, and in opening your mind and really broadening your perspective, I do a lot of learning. Like, I used to be a goody know-it-all, really, and that's how I was raised. Where is that person smarter than you? Why are you not first? And you just assume that because you come first in class, or because you're, the loudest in the room, you're the most knowledgeable. And it was only as I started to really learn in the last couple 5 years or so, the more I learned, the more I realized, geez, like Socrates said, you don't know anything. The more I learn, the more I know nothing. And I know you're also a keen learner, and how have you formed this habit? Because I think it's something that's very fundamental for people who really want to grow. And we're talking about growth here, people who really want to grow, not financially only, but just grow in your life and in your journey of life. How have you become an ardent learner? Because I know you are. And how can you help people who want to start learning? People who haven't learned anything since they left school 25 years ago.
Okay, so an example is, I don't know how true this is, but I just read something. This is fresh off the press. So Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft. So when he took over Microsoft was a 300 billion company. In the 7 years that he's been there, he's grown it to 1.9 trillion. I'm not sure what my facts are right now, but it's in the trillions. But it's definitely more than where he started from, and he's growing it in multiples. So the one thing that they said that he did was he came in with what they call a growth mindset. Okay. Now, what is a growth mindset? A growth mindset says, tell me more. So when someone asks you a question, when someone says something like, hey, Joan, you look pretty. Instead of saying, oh, thank you, you say, tell me more.
Tell me more, tell me I look 15.
Tell me more, so tell me more, so, and then the person will be like, oh, I love the way you, this one, that one, and I can go into photography right now. Let me just do a simple photography thing. I can go, hey, I like the way your hair is, packed. I like the, your makeup is not like you're just going for a masquerade show, So that tell me more attitude is what you call a learning attitude, because, and that's basically what Satya Nadella instituted in Microsoft. Now, to my person, I naturally am a curious person, so, and I think the biggest gift that anybody that is living right now has been granted or given is our books, because it's how how you have a software. Thank you, like I write, how you have a software that you constantly need to update.
Yeah.
That's what we need to do with our minds, and you can't do that by not reading. Now, I guess in the past, when there were no books, the way to do it was you go to the center of the village, and some elder tells you it's folklore to give you a story of sorts. But we don't have that opportunity anymore. So I like to read. You've seen my library collection, you've seen my family's library collection, and it's just that necessary part of you to just open your mind more. Because like you said, you don't know everything, and so yeah, I enjoy reading. Sadly, I started wearing glasses.
No, that's just us getting old.
I know, so yeah. And then the other thing that you also need to do is when you read, just don't read, also try and write. So I also write. Now, I'm not published like you are. Maybe someday I'll get there, where I'm also going to be a published, person like you, but I also write. And so, because what that does is when you've read something and you're able to process it and make it your own, it has more value. So that's what you want to do with your studying or with your reading or whatever it is that you do to just enhance your person. And one last point, it has to be for a reason. So, even if you pick up a novel to read, you're reading it because you want to be taken to this place where it's all fantasy. One of my professors will always tell you, never read any self-help books and all that. They're a waste of time and this and that, but I disagree, because within each person's experience, they've codified a process that you can take. You were talking about your great process, right?
Yeah.
Oh, exactly. Research and all that. Yeah. So that is a process that someone has taken time to codify for you, that you don't have to spend extra hours researching and doing, because now you have the shortcut to getting things done sooner than later.
Yeah.
And that is the advantage that books bring to all of us, and hence why I love to read.
Wow. Okay. So the first thing you talked about was, having a growth mindset. So that willingness and openness to learn and wanting to grow, and then stay curious. I really like that. Be curious. Rather than go on the defensive, start with tell me more. And even like in the agile world where I work, that's one of the coaching phrases that they give us when someone says something. It's like, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more, tell me more. I mean, they ask like 5 times. They're like, okay, that's enough. Shut up now. But tell me more really should be the attitude that we go to. So if someone says, I don't like your hair, tell me more. I love your hair, tell me more. That you start to practice, being curious and being open to learning. And then you talked about books. I wasn't really a big book reader, only because I don't like to read physical books. So I discovered audiobooks a couple of years ago, and it changed my life. Reading, honestly, like you said, it really takes me to a different world, where I start to imagine, oh, this could be me too. I could learn from somebody else. Why do I have to make all the mistakes in my life? And like I said, I used to be a know-it-all. But now I know nothing, and I'm constantly looking for shortcuts in life, because we want to keep growing. You don't want to stay stuck or stay where you are. Yes, stay curious, the 5 whys, yes. Why? So you keep asking why. You ask why 5 times until you get to a deeper reason why people are doing that. And like you said as well, learn for a reason. Don't just learn because they said I should read a book. Okay, let me go and read a book. Be curious, let there be a goal in mind, and learn. Learn from other people who have been where you want to go, not just anybody. And the same with people who you listen to. Make sure that you're listening to people that you trust, or people that have achieved what you want to achieve. And that way you can grow. So I really like that. Stay curious. Tell me more. If you didn't learn anything today, please learn, tell me more. So the next time I say anything to you, all I want to hear is tell me more. And my comment. Anybody said any comment, I'm going to say tell me more. You look good, tell me more. I'll say why. Okay. Awesome. Wow. This has been really, really amazing, honestly. Thank you so much, Michael, for sharing with us. So you're a project manager, you're a program manager, you're a photographer, you're many, many things. What can we expect from Michael 2021 and going forward?
Work in progress.
Is this a +1 conversation? Like what?
I'm sorry. That was something bad. Anyway, So for 2021, I'd say it's full throttle right now. The pandemic definitely has changed the landscape. All the 5-year plan that I thought I would have achieved by now, out of the window. So for 2021, it's basically 2 things. One, it's one day at a time. That's the first thing. But more importantly, I think where my headspace is right now is I'm working with a lot of entrepreneurs. People that are trying to bring things to life. And I have a very good friend that I'm meeting with today, and so there is that aspect.
Lockdown, but just
I'm sorry?
I said I hope it's virtual because we're on lockdown.
Oh yeah, absolutely. She doesn't even live in this country.
Okay.
But the fact is, for me, it's now working more with a bunch of people that just want to make things happen. Because for me, that's one of my biggest callings. To always help people achieve their goals. That's one of my biggest callings. So I'm working with a series of entrepreneurs. Every so now and then I get requests to review, some kind of proposal of sort, So that I think is where I'm going right now in that space. Learning, of course, is another thing. I'm not doing a PhD, I promise you. So not this year. I'm not sure ever. But again, it's just getting to the point where I'm just helping people achieve their goals. Especially entrepreneurs, people that really want to make impact and long-lasting change.
If we have people on here who are maybe at that point where they have a dream or they have a business they want to start, can they reach out to you?
Absolutely. Yeah, you have my handle right here. Best way to reach out to me is LinkedIn.
Okay.
Yeah, and John, if you can please post it, that would be great.
All right.
I'm more active on LinkedIn than any of the other social media. Um, Instagram, I enjoy it for what it is, you know, you know. So, but if you're looking for that professional touch, please reach out to me on LinkedIn. Now, if you want some photography work done as well, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or specifically through Instagram. So on that front, I'm always open. I'm willing to help.
Okay, well, that's awesome. So please reach out to Michael. So I'm going to take you back to a comment you made about project management. You said people don't get into it, and I know that's not, you don't really mean that. So I know you also mentor, new project managers or people who want to get into project management. Is that something that you're open to? People can reach out to you and just ask about, the PM landscape, what's going on. Is it a career people should get into?
Yeah, you just need a certain type of personality,
Oh,
you know. Yeah, yeah.
Tell them what it is so that some people will just say that's not for me.
Yeah, you have to be able to let other people have their way.
So the control freaks, that's not for you.
Yeah, no, you have to be look, you have to be a moderate level of control freak to be a PM, because things have to go. Think about it. As a PM, whether you're managing a project at the project level or the program level, or even at the portfolio level, you're trying to achieve something. Okay, so there has to be a mastery of sort within that domain. Okay, you don't have to know everything about it. Your job is not to get the job done. Your job is to get people to get the job done. That's your role. And so, yeah, if you want, we can definitely speak a lot about, the PM world, the PM space, maybe another conversation. But by all means, if you're looking to get into it, it is an interesting field. You can reach out to me. Again, you have my handles, you have my social media handles. Yeah.
So when you reach out to him, just say, "Tell me more."
Yeah. And hey.
I haven't learned anything today. Let I learn. Stay curious more.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Michael. This was really enlightening and very interesting for me. So I hope you guys take one of two things there. Thank you everyone for joining us again on our Rice Conversations. Next week, you don't want to miss next week because next week we're talking about friends. And I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about friends. You know those ones, the nasty ones, the envious ones, and the good ones, the ones who are there. So we're going to be talking about different types of friendships, and some are necessary endings. Sometimes it's just time to be like, okay, your season is done. See you later. So join us next week, same time. We'll be talking about friendships with one of my best friends, Anike. So I'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you everyone for joining.
Thanks, John.
Amazing comments. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Yep. Bye.